This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Christ. Oh. What's up, my movers and shakers? I'm Dave, this is MS Paints, and this is a project 25 years in the making. So, like a lot of folks going through an early midlife crisis and re-embracing their childhood Warhammer obsession, I have a lot of stuff from when I was a kid. I've also recently been picking up cheap lots of older miniatures and finding broken and badly painted metal minis from the 90s. It's gotten to the point where I actually have a case full of old, heavy gear that was taking up enough space, that now it needs to justify itself. And today is the beginning of that justification. So it's hard to really overstate how big a project like this is for me. I've done a lot of board builds, I've done a lot of dioramas, big project builds. Dioramas and boards I'm really comfortable with. Painting en masse, not so much. One of my fatigue points is batch painting. I don't so much get bored of it, but when it comes to fine detail processes and repetitious small micro movements, that's when my brain and my arms start to get a little bit tired and the shakes settle in. So this one's definitely going to be broken up into multiple parts. So for this one, I'm going to restore all the stuff that needs restoring, find arms, find guns, find heads, backpacks, legs, bases, whatever, as close to as it would be when it was brand new and freshly assembled and ready for painting. So I think the key word I'm going to associate with this video is getting it clean. Clean is how I want everything. So yeah, we got a lot to do. So I should probably stop fucking around and get started. Okay, let's go. So first port of call is to sort out everything that needs stripping. Anything where the paint is too thick and it's plugged up details, or it's left textured paint marks, they're all getting shoved in the stripping pile. About half of this is probably my stuff, and the rest I've picked up for cheap or as trades over the last few years. You never know what's underneath that top coat of paint, and some of this stuff is nearing 35 years old, so we're probably going to find a few models that don't want to cooperate with the project. Predominantly though, I'd say we've got mostly mid to late 90s stuff. The majority of Marines seem to be 97 and 98. The characters are mostly 93 through to 95, and there's a slack handful of the odd 2003 guy in there to mix things up. And these guys here are probably some of the first things that I painted as a kid. I'm keeping a couple of my first models safe and to one side, but the rest of it is taking a big old dive into the paint stripper pot. And there is a lot of it to get stripped. Okay, so I have everything on bases. Bases at present are just to handle them and handle them safely while I put paint stripper on absolutely everything in this pile here. There is a lot of stuff. What? Good save, health and safety frog. Thank you. Right, let's crack on. Let's apply a coat of the stripper to everything, and then let's see how easily all of this gack comes off. Whew. Okay, so cleaning did not go entirely as to plan, but basically it's been through the biostrip, which did the bulk of the work for a lot of things apart from those really ghastly orange Terminators that I've got. Then when I realised I was in for the long haul with this process, gave it a Dettol bath overnight because I thought, okay, if the biostrip isn't playing ball, let's go for the Dettol. The Dettol did some more heavy lifting. Those orange Terminators still kicking my ass. When I was a kid, fuck knows what I sprayed that Predator tank with, but that is sticking like a motherfucker. That is not coming off. But everything currently is at a stage where I can see what it is, I can see what it needs in terms of bits being put on, and I can see mold lines enough that I can actually start the next step. So I think what I'm going to do is build everything up, clean everything up, figure out what's usable, what's not usable, and anything that still needs some restoration will probably go into methylated spirits just to get the last of that garbage off there. Orange Terminators, not looking so hot, but we'll see what we can do.
What's up guys, Tony DiStefano here, and while in perpetual forward motion, I'm here to talk to you about the future of web design in the futuristic year of 1999. Ever thought about putting your business on that little thing that everybody's been talking about, you know, the internet? Ever heard of it? Well, listen up, because Squarespace does what Nintendo don't. End-to-end SSL encryption ensures that your data from client to user will not be intercepted by naughty hackers. Not this time, Johnny Mnemonic. Sign up now at squarespace.com/MSPaints. Huh? What's that? Not enough for you? Well, there's a little extra. Squarespace are throwing in browser-based tools that you can use on the go anywhere. Laptop, cellular telephone, you can edit on the go anywhere you like. Just load up the browser and away you go. That and easy-to-build web stores mean that you could sell mattresses, books, or even DVDs and be in direct constant contact with the customer. Amazing! So come on down to the Squarespace website emporium. That's squarespace.com/MSPaints and use the code MSPaints at checkout to save yourself 10% off your first website subscription or domain. What's that? You didn't hear me. I said squarespace.com/MSPaints and get started on the website of your dreams and the future today.
So now begins the next sorting phase where I put away everything that is complete. If it's got legs, heads, arms, guns, backpacks, yeah, they all go to one side. And bits needing bodies and bodies needing bits go into the project area. Ooh, and the presence of these las cannons leads me to believe that somewhere in here is a Mark II Land Raider, the cream of any 90s kid Space Marine army. Some of this stuff is easy peasy happy days. Metal models with 3 parts, sift through the pile, find the bits, get them stuck, and he's ticked off the list. Other models require a slightly more creative approach. Thanks to my buddy Joe, whose Twitch channel you can find a link to in the description down below, he donated a shitload of Space Wolf bits to me to use in this project. A lot of this is more modern than these base models, of course. Some of it's plastic, some of it's metal, some of it's Forge World resin. And a lot of it has neat little characteristics like wolf ornamentation or little knickknacks hanging off the guns and the armor or whatever. Sure, that doesn't quite tie in with our retro-only aesthetic, but to me it doesn't really mean too much. My alternative would be to 3D print or buy a load of retro bits, and honestly I just want to have this stage done this week. I've got 2 days to spend on it, and I'm working with what's here. I'm not actually sure whether this is going to be a usable unit or not, but I'll go with the rule of cool and say that plasma pistol in one hand, power claw in the other. For every year they spend sat on the shelf looking cool, they'll be fielded for a game like maybe once or twice, and I'm just happy to pretend that there's something else if people have a problem with it. Again, no idea who this guy is, but he's a big chunkster, and big chunksters get an underslung big boy's gun. Maybe an underslung land speeder, maybe not. The benefit of having a trio of bits boxes like Joe's is that there's a bit to complement every pose, every position, every vibe. And And speaking of suiting every vibe, myself and Snazdragon have extended our t-shirt pre-order window for a couple of extra days. Today and tomorrow are your last chance to get pre-orders in for your MS Paints and Health and Safety Frog merchandise. Unlike other YouTube merch, this stuff is manufactured entirely by independent first world manufacturers with extremely reasonable prices. So head to snazdragon.com now to rep some wholesome hobby goodness. Back to business, I'm going to focus on characters first, making sure I've got enough bits to cater to the unique poses. This 2nd edition Vindicator is a total fucking pig to assemble. Considering a lot of this other stuff was never meant to be stuck together, the only model really giving me shit is the one with all the correct parts. Looks like the Land Raider also has most of its parts included, only thing missing is some kind of turret that goes on the front. Amazingly, this spare turret from my Razorback actually fits into the slot perfectly. Decent. And also amazingly, the Rogue Trader Predator seems to have recovered pretty well in the methylated spirits. The Terminators absolutely need longer though, and as far as I'm fucking concerned, they can sit there for a week because they're metal. And our retro Space Marine army is starting to take shape. Not a pretty shape, but it is definitely a shape. There's a lot of shit here, and even though more than half needed stripping and about 70% of it needed some kind of missing part finding and adding, we have a sizable force after a couple of days' work. Last little piece to go in is this Games Day 2005 exclusive, still sealed. It's got that new mini smell. He's the only brand new guy going into the project, and he is peak metal casted GW character. While I didn't get to clean all these up for the mold lines, I did make a start on some pieces using these nifty little things from Dragon Tree Creations. These are a tester product sent my way for feedback, and they're pretty damn good. Essentially different grit sandpaper on a foam structure. Really handy as they have a little bit more give than a file so that you can work around corners a bit better. Thanks Dragon Tree Creations, muchos apreciato. And yeah, I normally do insist on cleaning my nails before I show my hands through a macro lens on the camera, and before you recoil and discuss, it's just paint, and it ain't gonna come out, so let's deal. So let's head to the studio where my cat can't knock these over while I'm trying to film them, and get a final look at where we're at with our army. Pretty impressed, I have to say, all laid out in front of me with enough space to show everything off. All this 90s majesty comes out and displays its chunky sculptedness with pride. Big love and eternal thank you to my Patreon community who continue to support me despite my absence during these pretty rough sponsor deadline times. Join me next time when we're going to head back to the past again for something a little bit different and a little bit special.